Good evening, Scotland. Good evening, social media land. I hope you're well. It is Saturday, the 8th of February 2025, and I feel very strange broadcasting on a Saturday. We're streaming across YouTube and TikTok tonight, so do please take the time to like and share across these platforms and say hello in the comments as well. If we lose either of the streams for any reason, please jump on to the other one and continue the conversation. We're also recording this live and all the comments to ensure the security and integrity of the stream. First, let me apologise that we didn't run the show on Friday. This was due to my youngest being very ill and having a wee visit to the sick kids in Edinburgh, the A&E department. It was a bit challenging for us because the wee boy is autistic, and this was the first time that he had ever had to have blood tests done and x-rays. So it was a challenge for him as well as his mum and dad. But good news, he is on the mend very slowly. His temperature's coming down. We've got the right medication, and that's good. But I want to pay tribute just now to the great team at the Sick Kids in Edinburgh for understanding Roderick's needs being an autistic kid, and understanding that taking the lead from parents sometimes is the best thing to do for neurodivergent children, because we know them best and we know how to distract them and how to basically get them into the right frame of mind. And that was the situation last night with him, and he did really well, and I'm so pleased. He was bounced back a bit today, started eating again, actually went to the toilet and passed some solids for the first time in a week. So all these little milestones are really, really important to us. Didn't have the medication last night, so I had to go back to the hospital this afternoon, but I think it was kind of meant to be, because I had a great chat with a really cool taxi driver today, a chap called Ian, who also turned out to be a yes voter. So we sat and took the mickey out of Jackie Baillie being really harsh and completely talking rubbish about the Scottish NHS and how we are closer than ever to realising the dream of independence. He also subscribed to the channel right there in his taxi. So if you're watching, Ian, thank you very much for the chat today. And if you're watching it back later on, know that I appreciate the conversation that we had. So let me introduce tonight's show with a wee overview first of all, and then we'll go to the TikTok land and to the YouTube land. So Scotland's journey towards self-governance is underpinned by three interconnected pillars of engagement, say, all right? Each plays a pivotal role in advancing the cause. Effective leadership and political competency showcases Scotland's capacity for self-administration, and we often surpass Westminster in areas like healthcare and education with that as well. We also need to have international recognition and engagement of Scotland's right to self-determination, highlighting the constraints imposed by the current union. Meanwhile, the third pillar is us lot, the grassroots, the activists who mobilise public support, have that national conversation and ensure that the aspiration for independence remains vibrant within all the communities. The synergy of these elements is crucial. Without their combined efforts, the movement risks losing momentum and coherence. A robust political framework is essential not just for effective governance, but also for challenging Westminster's limitations and inspiring confidence in Scotland's potential as an independent nation. Internationally, Scotland's esteemed reputation in education, culture, innovation bolsters its diplomatic efforts, despite constraints imposed by the UK government. Then us, the grassroots movement, through marches, rallies and community engagement, keep that independence discourse alive, demonstrating public enthusiasm and applying pressure on our political leaders. However, internal divisions and over-reliance on political figures can hinder progress. Unity within the movement is paramount, and by focusing on shared goals and leveraging the strength of each pillar, Scotland can create the conditions necessary for achieving independence. The path forward requires collaboration, resilience, and a collective commitment to the nation's self-determination. Right, so we're going to crack on and we're going to talk about these three pillars, but as per usual, I need to play this little jingle. We start our lives with an important reminder that we are fighting one of the world's greatest propaganda machines, the British state and their right-wing oligarch-run media. To combat this, we ask that you always follow, like and share and comment positively across all social media platforms on any of your favourite Scottish independence creators and commentators. By doing this, you help to spread the word of our cause and manipulate social media algorithms to benefit our struggle. So please, for now, like and share this live stream, and if you haven't already, follow this account. Thank you. I can't emphasise enough, every week I start with that jingle, because our battlefield is social media. Our battlefield is Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Blue Sky, it's YouTube. It's how we communicate digitally and get into people's living rooms. And you've got great people that will go out and make content. You've got, I think I saw Davy McGuinness. Yeah, Davy McGuinness from Indie Truck Davy and the Two Davies. He puts out a show in the morning and the afternoon. If we're not sharing that and engaging with that, okay, the algorithm doesn't really do much. So it's not just about preaching to the choir. It's about liking it and sharing it onto your own personal social medias. So there's people that you probably know that may be wavering whether or not independence is the right thing. And you just don't know somebody that's watching Davies or somebody that's watching my stuff or watching a different sort of creator as well for independence might just get inspired and become the next great person to inspire half the nation for independence. This is why we do it. This is why we do it, because we just don't know who's watching and how they're going to be affected positively by our message. So let's have a quick look. We'll have a quick look across in TikTok land. First of all, I saw Ken. Thank you, Ken's doing his admin bit, shouting about it and getting everybody to like and everything. Indie Dave is jumping between both YouTube and TikTok land. And I actually just saw my son there as well. Hi, Ruin. How are you? You're up late, son, but it's good to see you there. You might learn a thing or two tonight. Druss, David Cable, Mythlad and Harpo, thank you for joining us. Nice to see you, Harpo. It really is. Glad you're there. And across in YouTube land, I saw David McGuinness, Aki's, Wolfpet, and who else was there? I saw Sky Echo, Henry, and I saw Doug as well, and Ginger Giraffes. I've said hi to some of you already just in the chat, but do you know what? It's nice to sort of like pay personal tribute to you all as well. Okay. The jingles in between each segment tonight, I'm calling them ego jingles because it's actually me that's in them. So you'll just have to put up with them because of the short videos that I made, the 30-second videos to hit out on TikTok to aim little short messages to the young team out there. So when we come to the end of each segment, please ignore the ego part of it all and just understand that it's delivering a message to a different demographic. Right, let's get started, and we're going to start tonight with the political pillar. So Scottish independence is not going to be granted by Westminster. It will not be handed down by a political party, and it will not be made easier by a media that seeks to undermine it. It will happen when the people of Scotland demand it, loudly, consistently and undeniably. So why are we waiting? Waiting for a perfect moment, a perfect leader, a perfect strategy. We already have everything we need to move forward, but only if we unite. This week we've been discussing in the videos how independence rests on three essential pillars: a political pillar, an international pillar and a grassroots pillar. And each one is vital because each one strengthens the other. Without them working together, the movement risks stagnation and a lot more internal strife. The first pillar we're going to talk about is the political one, because a strong pro-Scottish Holyrood is not just a tool for governance. It's proof that Scotland is already governing itself better than Westminster does. Devolution was never meant to be the final destination, in my opinion. I believe, as an independence activist, it was meant to show its own limitations, to expose the restrictions placed upon Scotland by Westminster, and also as a trap to keep us sated and stall for the inevitable, our independence. A government that is competent, accountable, and socially just does more than administer. It demonstrates that Scotland is ready to take full control of its future. And the evidence is already clear. Scotland's prescriptions are free because healthcare is a right and not a privilege. In England, patients still pay, and the costs continue to rise there. In Scotland, we know that university tuition is free, lifting the burden of debt from thousands of our children that go into higher education. In England, generations are shackled to loans before they even begin their careers. We've got the Scotland Baby Box, a small but powerful symbol of social care, welcomes every child into a country that prioritises its people. Incidentally, I believe that there's a city council down south that's also just started baby boxes. I can't remember which one, but I'm sure I read it somewhere. When Westminster cut welfare, Holyrood introduced the Scottish Child Payment, shielding vulnerable families from decisions made in London. Even within the limits of devolution, Scotland makes different choices, better choices, fairer choices, choices that put people first, and yet these powers remain limited. Imagine what we could do, if they weren't. Imagine what we could achieve if we had full autonomy, if we were independent. And this is why the political pillar matters. Every successive devolution is a reminder of what Scotland is not allowed to do. Every step forward exposes the barriers still in place, and every year that Scotland governs well under the devolution conditions strengthens the case for independence. If we can outperform Westminster with one hand tied behind our back, why are we not governing ourselves completely? That is the question the political pillar forces us to ask every day, and that's why it cannot be ignored. But some say Holyrood is not moving fast enough. The political leaders are too cautious. That independence is being treated like an electoral tool, a carrot, rather than an urgent goal. That confrontation, not compromise, is what's needed. Frustration is understandable, but division is very dangerous for our movement. Every fracture in the movement strengthens Westminster's grip. Every internal dispute gives unionist parties an opening, and they'll use it. Because make no mistake, a Holyrood controlled by Westminster-aligned parties would not just take the independence movement, would not just halt it and take it and put it on the back burner. It would probably dismantle devolution itself, especially if reform gets in. A government that takes orders from London will never, ever prioritise Scotland's interests. It will not protect Scotland's NHS from a creeping privatisation. It will not defend free prescriptions, free tuition or welfare protections. It will roll them back one by one. And with every rollback, the independence case will not just stall, it will erode. That's why the 2026 election matters. Not for a party, not for a leader, but for Scotland itself. Because a pro-Scottish Holyrood is not just about independence. It's about ensuring that Scotland is governed by those who put Scotland first. Every year that Holyrood makes better decisions than Westminster, the argument grows stronger. Even for those who are undecided, the question becomes far clearer. If Scotland is already governing itself successfully under devolution, why shouldn't it have the full powers of independence? What could we do better still? If Scotland's already proving it can govern, why are we still asking for permission? If we accept that Scotland can govern, then the next step is not whether we should govern itself completely. The next step is when should we start? And the answer to that question is only up to us.
You got about that fuck, you know. Yes, sir, that's good. It's your boy, the fly, Scott back again. To the left, you can rap, that's true, motherfucker. It's your boy, the fly, Scott back again. To the left, you can rap, that's true, motherfucker. It's your boy, the fly, Scott back again. To the left, you can rap, that's true, motherfucker. It's your boy, the fly, Scott back again. To the left.
Right, I'm going to do a wee test here just now. Tell me, can you hear this?
Welcome to All Things Scottish. Our slogan is, if it's no Scottish, it's crap!
Give me a thumbs up if you just heard that just now, please, because I'm testing a soundboard on my controls here. All right. Yeah, listen, my feelings about the first pillar, right, is that we need to have a strong pro-Scottish government in place, and we need to take that further now. We need to have a pro-Scottish opposition as well. That's kind of vital. It's not just about the SNP getting shouted down by the unionist parties. We need more pro-Scottish people in the opposition as well, just to demonstrate clearly this is what we want. And we talk about that quite frequently, about how we can go about doing that and stuff, but we will talk about it again, no doubt, in streams and videos. Okay, let's have a look. Everybody's saying hiya. Looking down there. Did I see Robert come in? Robert, are you there? Did I see? Yeah, Robert Scrimminger, hiya. It's one of my buddies from here. Let's have a wee look. We need the SNP to explain the haunt to electorate. We need it to be taught in schools. JH Toms, if you go, in fact, I don't have the link to demonstrate here just now, but I've got a video that I made directly from the Scottish Government's website, which is their slideshow, but I did a voiceover for it so you can watch it. It's about 9 minutes long. I will, if you send me a DM in TikTok, I'll send you the link. All right, just say looking for info on DeHunt, and then you can use that to share out, because it's really good. It's a great tool. It's very simple to understand from that. So it's a good one to use, and it's from the Scottish Government as well. So it's actually the one that's used for school kids. And I'm same as you. The DeHunt system. Some people find it a bit difficult to understand, but you see, when you get your head around it, it makes perfect sense that if we just do one party for the constituencies and a second party for the list, we could push in so many people that are pro-Scottish and leave the Unionists reeling. Right, let's move on to the second segment, which is the international pillar. Where's my notes gone for this? Right, okay. Where did we go? Right. The international pillar challenges Westminster's authority, demanding recognition for Scotland's right to self-determination on the world stage. International recognition is not just a formality. It's something that we actually need to work on and gain confidence with. And the good thing is that we as a nation have got a very positive reputation all over the world. But without international recognition, Scotland's independence will always be framed as a domestic issue, controlled by Westminster's legal and political framework. The independence movement cannot afford to let Westminster define that narrative. It must be Scotland's voice and not Westminster's heard on the international stage. And Scotland has already a powerful international reputation, a country that's known for innovation, education, scientific progress, a nation consistently ranked up amongst the highest in the world for hospitality, peace and security. A place whose universities attract minds from across the globe, cementing its status as a centre for research and development far beyond its size. But this reputation is not just a source of pride, it's also a source of leverage. Nations engage with countries that they respect. They build partnerships with nations they see as valuable members of the global community. And Scotland already has that standing. And yet Westminster works very hard to limit Scotland's voice. But despite this, Scotland is already forging its own path. Scottish Government's offices in Berlin, Paris, Dublin and Washington have been quietly building diplomatic and trade relationships independent of Westminster. Scotland has positioned itself as a responsible global leader, leading on humanitarian efforts and climate justice. These are not just actions of a mere devolved region. These are actions of a nation already behaving as an independent state. And Westminster knows this. That's why it fights to keep Scotland's diplomacy under its control. Don't know if you're aware of this, but every meeting, every international discussion, every conversation with a foreign leader that comes with a condition. And that is a UK government official must be present, a babysitter. And this isn't about collaborating with the union and that person being there to actually instigate collaboration. It's about control. If Scotland's international standing didn't matter to the union, why does Westminster need to monitor it? The answer is clear on that one. Scotland's diplomatic effort threatens the UK's carefully managed narrative. Every meeting, every argument, every handshake is a reminder that Scotland is not just part of the UK, it's a nation in its own right. But Scotland's engagement with the world does not begin and end with government initiatives. Where Westminster tries to limit Scotland's presence, the people are also stepping in. We've got a good few major grassroots movement like the declaration of the Sovereign Scot and Liberation Scotland's legal challenges. And these are bypassing Westminster's restrictions and taking Scotland's case directly to international institutions. These efforts cannot be blocked by Westminster, they cannot be dismissed by party politics, and they cannot be ignored. The Declaration of a Sovereign Scot is a direct assertion of Scotland's right to self-determination, rooted in the historic's claim of right. It argues that the power does not rest in Westminster, but in the hands of the Scottish people. By signing the Declaration, Scots affirm their sovereignty, creating a mass petition that forces the fundamental question: does Westminster have the right to override the will of the people? Now, Mike Fenwick has tirelessly gone out of his way to gather individual signatures at every single march for the past, 5-6 years he's been doing it, I think. He's some boy. I signed it last year. I knew it was going on, but I always missed him for some reason at the marches. So I signed it and had the pleasure of meeting him last year. And this is something that I feel the wider movement could actually do. We should have a bi-monthly stall somewhere in your town or city specifically for this, set up on a Saturday afternoon for 4 hours, the Declaration of a Sovereign Scot, and we should be getting people to sign it. We should be gathering these and we should be giving them to Mike, and we should be doing it twice a month, at least during the summer, maybe 4 times, maybe. Rick, can you imagine doing that in Edinburgh in the middle of the festival? Not that you're going to get like international people doing it, but you're going to get tourists asking what it's about, and we could have other information to engage with them, and then they become part of the movement internationally, talking about it, not realising that Scotland is held prisoner. Anyway, moving on. Okay, the Declaration of a Sovereign Scot is not bound by UK law, and it's not reliant on elections either. It's a pure expression of Scotland's democratic will, and Westminster can't shut it down without openly attacking Scotland's right to democratic expression. But then you've also got Liberation Scotland. They take a different approach, challenging Westminster in the international courts. It seeks recognition of Scotland's right to independence through the International Court of Justice and the United Nations. This legal effort does not frame Scotland as an equal partner in the UK. It presents it as a nation denied its right to self-determination. If Scotland's case is heard at the highest level of international law, Westminster will be forced to justify why Scotland is not allowed to decide its own future. That age-old question, yeah, it is a partner of equals. No, you can't decide your own future. Why the hell not? This would shift the debate entirely. No longer a UK constitutional issue, but an international human rights concern. There's a lot more to the Liberation Scotland movement, and they've got a website you can go and have a wee look at, where it'll explain it more. And I joined Liberation Scotland, about 2-3 years ago, and Salvo is their campaigning wing of the Liberation Scotland. So yeah, these people have got a good idea to keep that conversation going internationally. And they need our support, and likewise, we need their support to keep it relevant on the international stage. These initiatives matter because they can't be controlled by Westminster. They bypass the limits of devolution, and they challenge Westminster's authority directly. And for those who are undecided on independence, they reframe the debate. And that's really important, because a lot of the time people just see it as an internal thing and not something that should reflect an international opinion. And for those that are undecided, it could swing their point of view. Because suddenly it's not a political argument anymore, and it's not about Holyrood versus Westminster. It becomes a question of fundamental rights. And if Scotland's not allowed to engage internationally on its own terms, if Scotland's not free to negotiate in its own future, then the real question is not whether Scotland should leave the UK. The real question is, why is Scotland being denied the right to choose? So for those that are still undecided, the reality to consider: if Scotland is already engaging internationally, it has a strong global reputation and it's building relationships beyond the UK, then the question is, why is it no longer whether Scotland can be independent? It's why are we being held back? And if we can stand on our own, then the only real question is, why aren't we doing it now? Yo. Cool. Right, I've lost my pattern on my notes. Can you believe that? Every time I push a button, for some reason, it changes my notes, and I don't know why, which is bizarre. Let me just unmute. No, it didn't change it that time. Yeah, so having an international contingent is vital to the movement. We need the political ones, the diplomatic ones doing their job, but we also need the grassroots ones, the Liberation Scot ones, the Mike Fenwick ones, going out there and doing the right thing all the time, simply because it's utterly vital. If we're not doing that, what's the point? Now, the thing that we're going to get into next is about the grassroots people, but, you know, if we've got a strong political wing and we've got a strong international wing, if we've got a weak grassroots movement that's fighting all the time, there's no point in the other two at all, because they're working hard to be relevant and making everything work for us in their little niches, and it funnels down to us to do the right things as well, and we're going to come on to that in a wee second. So you did hear that little thing earlier on. Let me see if I can play this one as well. Did you hear that one? Give me a thumbs up if you heard that noise. Did you hear that noise? I'm just waiting for a thumbs up across. I don't think you're hearing these noises. Did you? There's a bit of a delay getting the message to you guys when I'm speaking just now. I want to push it again. It's like a I've got it coming through my microphone, and I just wanted to make sure that it was coming through right. Okay, if it's not, oh, it did come through. Yep, right, cool, that's good, I'm happy. That's just for something next week. Right, okay, let's get on with what's going on with the we need a think tank separate from any party to help navigate voters for effective list voting strategy in their region for 2026. Eddie, one of my great friends on here, Lazy Sod, he's a technical whiz. He's in the process of building the foundation of yet another indie hub type thing, but it's slightly different. It's one that you can message people on, but we're going to be using this as the foundation to build a tool for tactical voting for next year as well. It's something that we need. It's something that we need to look at, because we need to see in individual regions what pro-independence, pro-Scottish individuals or parties will be in each region, and basically from the polls as well, who has the greatest chance of actually obtaining seats. And we also have to keep discussing and showing our brethren in the independence movement, the people that are a bit stuck in the SNP 1 and 2 paradigm, that we need to take ourselves and remove ourselves from politics and put ourselves in overall bigger picture, a national cause sort of position, so we can actually obtain a pro-Scottish Holyrood. And when we get that put into position, where is it gone? I've just lost the part there. We'll let you know. We're looking to have the Indie Hub set up by summer properly at the very latest, and then we will look to experiment with it for a tactical voting tool well before the May election next year. Okay, right. So governments can be restrained by political realities and diplomatic efforts can be slowed by bureaucracy. But a determined people, organised, mobilised and relentless, cannot be stopped. It's often said by our politicians in Holyrood that independence will come when the people of Scotland want it. And that's the truth. It will happen. It's unstoppable when we have a consistent majority for it all. And that's what Westminster fears the most, and that's exactly what we must build. A movement so strong, so undeniable that ignoring it is no longer an option. The grassroots movement is the lifeblood of independence. It's not bound by election cycles. It does not answer to individual party politics unless you make that the grassroots. But I feel that we cannot make party politics the grassroots movement. So it's a force that keeps the cause alive, not just in Parliament, but in the streets, in the communities, in everyday conversation. And this is how movements win. Not through waiting, not through silence, but through action. Sorry, there's a very funny sound coming down from over here. Where's my cats? Right, okay, sorry to interrupt. One of them's over there on the bed, that's fine. Right, so this is how movements win, not through waiting, not through silence, but through action. History has proven this time and time again. For instance, if we look back to 2017, millions of Catalonians, millions of Catalans took to the streets demanding their right to choose. And the Spanish government responded with force, police violence, mass arrests, and the suppression of democracy. I really hope it doesn't come to that in Scotland. But why did they do that? Why did they do that? Because a government can dismiss political arguments, but it cannot dismiss a determined people. Westminster hopes Scotland never learns this lesson, but you know something? We're going to have to learn it, that a determined people can make change, because the only thing that Westminster fears more than a pro-independence government is a pro-independence nation. And we're moving that way. It's getting that way. Mass mobilisation is not an outdated strategy. It's how political change is forced onto the agenda. It's how movements make themselves impossible to ignore, and why we have already seen its power. For example, All Under One banner has brought hundreds of thousands of people together, filling the streets with seas of saltires. Believe in Scotland has channeled that same energy into strategic campaigning, making the economic and social cases for independence. But to maximise impact, these organisations and all pro-independence, pro-Scottish groups should really be working together. It's not about branding, it's not about which group gets the credit for it, and it's not about which group wins the biggest narrative change. It's about just friggin' winning our independence. It's about changing the hearts and minds of the undecided, not just preaching to the choir, but going out there and having that national conversation and showing that every single independence niche group can work together, because the collective value of us as human beings, as Scottish people wanting their independence, outstrips the division that is caused by the media, by other politicians and agent provocateurs within our midst. Every march, every rally, every demonstration sends a message to politicians, to the media, to the undecided voters that we're still here and we're not going away. And Westminster cannot wait us out, but mass mobilisation alone still isn't enough. The national conversation needs to go to every community, to every workplace and every household in Scotland. That same energy from 2014, where you were standing at the coffee machine having your break going, how are you going to vote? Oh, I don't know yet. Oh, I'm going to vote yes. Are you? Why is that? And it was a great thing. That energy was beautiful. We need that energy all the time. But we've so blinkered with political division and ideological division within the movement that we can't do that anymore, but we have to, because it's glorious when it works and it's a buzz for everybody when we do it. And every activist has a role in this, not just through social media arguments, and not through attacking each other over strategy, but by engaging people face to face and proving that independence is the logical choice for Scotland's future. Every doorstep conversation, every public meeting, every question answered. This is where the undecided voters become yes voters, when we lead by example and we can demonstrate that the independence movement is a mature and organised movement with the best interests of Scotland at heart. It's not a hobby, is it? We're fighting a monster here. We're fighting the British state for our self-determination, and they're ignoring us. Let them ignore us just now. Let them do it. That'll be their biggest mistake. Go out, share this work, share Davy McGuinness's work, share everybody's work across Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook. Just go and put it on your own social media. 15 minutes of activism a day. You can do it on your phone while you're boiling the kettle. You can do it while you're on the bus on your phone. Like and share, comment, send it to a mate. All there. That is your activism. And then go to the marches. Have those same conversations with people at the coffee machine. Just do that. And be positive and cool about it. Like, for instance, Ian the taxi driver. How I got him into speaking about independence was by taking the piss out of Jackie Baillie. You know, I told him that I had a great experience yesterday in the hospital. And I thought, how dare Jackie Baillie say our NHS is shit? And he goes, yeah, but she's an arse, isn't she? And it went on from there. You'll probably find that there's more people nowadays willing to engage about independence than there was a year ago or 2 years ago. Engage with them. We are the movement. We are the people. And we are the ones that will make the change for this. And it's only up to us to make that happen. Right, it's the unmute button that changes my notice weight. I don't know why it does that. It's so weird. I need to scroll back. Are we all okay? It's okay, we're right on time. Just coming up for 12:15. I won't keep yous back from your glorious Saturday night sleepy buys, your beauty sleep and everything. To see ourselves, yes, Ange, to see ourselves documentary is a real insight tool for independence. It should be compulsory viewing for every single activist. This is something that we should do on Discord. We should have a watch party to see ourselves. Now, I've still got that lassie's card somewhere. I'm going to ask if I can get a digital copy, buy it or whatever, so I can use it in Discord. The other one as well is London's Calling. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, which is all about the BBC bias in 2014. That's worth a watch as well. We've done a watch party for that in Discord. So yeah, let me just put a scrolling thing on for Discord just now. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's this one, that one there. There you go. Listen, if you do want to join Discord, we have our own Discord with Saorsa. Email info@saorsascot.com with your Discord ID and any links to your social media, because we just want to make sure that you're not a unionist and that you're a proper independent supporter. That's why we need to have a wee look at your socials, because we're paranoid people, okay? That's just because I've had problems in Discord with people getting in before, and I've had to close down and open up. So it's just to keep it a nice safe space for independence folk. What else have we got going on in the conversation? Cool. We've got quite a few people across in TikTok tonight, more than usual. All you TikTokers, thank you for joining us. And there's actually a Saorsa person there as well that I follow. Good to have you there. And there's Liv. How you doing, Liv? Never saw you sneak in there. And the People's Assembly as well. How are you doing? Right. Let's move on with the final segment, which is about pulling it all together. But let me just have a quick... I need to get it on my notes again here. They're brilliant. Okay. Sorry, I need a wee drink of coffee here before we carry on. Okay, so if you are wanting to join our, what's it called, our Discord, we're usually hanging there after the show anyway, just to have a dissect and a bit of a come down from it all. So it's always good fun. So please, after the show tonight, we will be jumping in. I'll check my emails to see if there's anybody there that can that wants to come and join in. Right, where did we get to? So yeah, we said earlier on that Scottish independence will not be decided by politicians. It will not be granted by Westminster, and it will not be delivered by waiting for the perfect leader, the perfect strategy, or the perfect moment. It will happen when the people of Scotland refuse to be ignored, when they demand it relentlessly, unapologetically, and with one voice. But right now, the movement is waiting. Too many believe Scotland's future depend on what the SNP or the Greens or Alba do next. Too many believe that independence will come from party strategy rather than the people forcing the issue. And that's not how real change happens. Political parties are not the gatekeepers of independence. They will not deliver it unless the movement and the people forces their hand. And that's why the three pillars of independence, the political, international and the grassroots, must work together, particularly the grassroots. We know that the political pillar provides good governance, proving that Scotland can govern itself. The international pillar builds the global support, ensuring that Scotland's right of self-determination will be recognised beyond the UK. And then us lot, the foot soldiers, mobilises the people, turning independence from an idea into an unstoppable force. And none of these pillars, no matter what anybody says, can succeed on their own. A strong pro-Scottish government means nothing without the people behind it. And international recognition is meaningless if the movement is weak back at home. And activism without strategy risks becoming noise instead of action. When all three work together, independence is inevitable. But right now, we are our own biggest obstacle. The movement is fractured, divided by mistrust, by personal grievances, by political addiction. Some refuse to back the SNP, believing that they have lost their way. Others refuse to acknowledge that independence cannot happen without political action. And some demand radical confrontation, while others insist on gradualism. Some fight about how independence should be delivered rather than focusing on actually fighting and delivering it. And while we argue, Westminster wins. They use the media to paint the movement as broken, unstable and leaderless. They amplify divisions, knowing that the more we fight each other, the less we're fighting them. And you know the worst part is we let them. We take the bait and we do the work for them. And this has to stop. It just has to. Some argue that focusing on independence ignores other vital issues, social justice, climate change, public services. That those who put independence first are told that they are wished for indie, that they're not interested in women's rights, trans rights or anything like that at all. That fighting for self-determination means abandoning everything else. This isn't true. I want independence more than anything, but does that mean that I'm not fighting for human rights, for women's rights, for trans rights, for Palestinians' rights? Am I putting all those things to the side? Of course I'm not. But there's a lot of things that we cannot fix. We cannot fix at all until we are independent. And the truth is this: Scotland cannot properly tackle these issues while Westminster controls the political resources for making these decisions. Poverty, workers' rights, public services. These are not separate battles from independence. Independence is the solution to the problems within these things. It is the only way that Scotland can fully shape its future without Westminster overriding our choices. And these things should not divide us. They should unite us. Because every independent supporter, no matter their politics, wants and needs. They know that a Scotland that reflects its own values is a Scotland that will become independent. A Scotland where decisions are made in Scotland, for Scotland, by Scots, because we know best what we need and how to get it. But we also must recognise another weakness. The movement does rely too much on politics. There's a dangerous assumption that independence will happen when the right leader or the right party or the right strategy appears. That if we wait long enough, someone will just deliver it for us. Indie apathy, that's what I call it sometimes. Independence apathy, just waiting. You know what? We'll just let somebody else do all the hard work. No, you don't slay a monster by sitting on your sofa. You slay a monster by getting up and attacking it, by uniting the people and making sure that we're doing the right thing. You know, we have to remember that we are the driving force, not just Holyrood, not just party leaders, not just the international contingent. It's us, the grassroots folk. And to bring it all together, we need to be promoting every possible positive thing about independence. We need to be voting for the SNP next year in the elections for your first vote, and your second vote should be any other independence party. Let's create a pro-Scottish Holyrood. That becomes the political wing, the political pillar. Let's support the initiative for a sovereign Scot and get as many people signing that. Let's support Liberation Scotland and get people joining their website, the Liberation Movement. Let's do this because that supports that contingent. And then let's just hug an Alapa supporter, hug an SNP supporter, hug a Green person, hug ISP, hug somebody. Just love your brethren, you know, because they want the same goal as what you want. And why should we be shouting at each other? We just shouldn't. We just shouldn't. Let me just scroll to the bottom of my notes because I went off topic there. Yeah. Working together is the only thing to do. Right, I'm going to end this segment with a wee song, one that I wrote lyrics for that's about the waspy woman. So the show's not finished with this. I'll come back on in a few minutes. I'm just going to go and top up my coffee while I'm playing it. But we all know that the waspy women in Scotland and across all of these islands have been crapped upon greatly. So I wrote this song for them a few weeks ago after basically it was actually before the vote. And I think it's pretty pertinent just now. So let's play it and I'll be back in a few minutes. This one's for the waspy woman.
They promised the world with words so bold, a future for the workers, a story retold. But pledges are ashes, the trust now burned. For the waspy women, it's justice they've spurned. Oh, Scotland, they've lied and they've led us astray, while Westminster schemes we're left to pay. If we held our future, our nation's own hand, we'd build fair pensions in an independent land. On a Saorsa, a leader who speaks so fair, but where are his promises drifting in air? They cried for justice, They swore they'd fight, but all they delivered was more endless nights. Oh, Scotland, they've lied and they've led us astray, while Westminster's schemes we're left to pay. If we held our future, our nation's own hand, we'd build fair pensions in an independent land. They take our wealth, they take our pride, they leave our elders cast aside. But hope is rising, the day will come when Scotland stands, our fight not done. The Labour machine, with Westminster's might, steals from our people, denying our rights. Their Prime Minister's silence speaks so loud, standing for nothing but the power they're proud. Oh, Scotland, they've lied and they've led us astray, while Westminster's schemes we're left to pay. If we held our future, our nation's own hand, we'd build fair pensions in an independent land. So rise up, Scotland, with voices so clear. The day of our freedom is drawing near. A country of fairness, where promises stand, with pensions for all in an independent land. Oh, Scotland, they've lied and they've led us astray, while Westminster's schemes we're left to pay. If we held our future, our nation's own hand, we'd build fair pensions in an independent land. A promise unbroken, a future we'll claim. In Scotland's own hands, they'll remember our name.
There you go. I had a great comment in TikTok there just now. Waspy woman's ears are bleeding right now. And Ginger came back saying, because of how powerful the message is. Yeah, let their ears bleed. I don't think they'll be bleeding, to be perfectly honest. It's a song, mate, you know. What are you doing to get the waspy woman's cause put over? Just saying that their ears are bleeding. Nice one. Good. Right. Let me just bring this up just now. This is how you get into our Discord. Dead easy. Okay, to join you must have a verifiable social media that demonstrates clearly that you're a Scottish independence activist, or be recommended by an existing member of the Discord group. Email the address below with your information and your Discord ID. So that's info@saorsascot.com. If you don't have a social media that shows that you're a pro-indie person, there's not much point, because I just want to keep it nice and fun for indie folk. And then also as well, if you want to find any more of Saorsa's socials, that's them all there. YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and then Lazy Links is the one which actually has all the links on it. It's like Linktree, but better. All right, that's what it's all about there for them. And the last little thing is tonight, how I create my content and my notes and my scripts and things is I'll go away and take a subject and I'll research it, and then I'll write usually 3 or 4 articles about it. So sometimes I don't publish them because they're very notey, sort of like note-taking-y type thing, but I've actually put this one on the saorsascot.com website, the 3 pillars of activism. I've not done it just as a blog. I've actually put it in the latest news section so it stays up there longer. And listen, if anybody who is an independence activist wants to write anything, I'm quite happy to stick it on the website, and I'm quite happy for you to speak to Barry about setting up a, what's it called, an idle blog account, which is a nice little way of blogging without having to, learn all about different websites. It's just as easy as using Twitter, to be perfectly honest. But that there, if you wanted to go and have a wee read of what I've done there, please do. saorsascott.com, and then just scroll down the page till you see that banner, and you'll be able to have a wee look at it as well. Okay. Right. Mr. E, you're lost in the wilderness of social media. That's okay. I've got a compass to get you out of it. Don't you worry. If you need to, let's have a quick look over this side. Yes, Discord after the live, Ken. We're going to be going across there, which was good. And yeah, we will go and have a wee chitty chatty. Okay, that's it. Thank you for joining me on Saturday instead of Friday. We'll be back Friday next week. I'll be recording the 4 videos tomorrow night, and getting them all set up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be quite an interesting one. But if you're part of the Discord group, hopefully I will see you in there. And if you're wanting to join the Discord group, like I say, info@saorsascott.com with a couple of links for your social medias and your Discord name as well. In the meantime, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to you all, and we have actually hit that right on an hour. Brilliant. You take care, guys, and we'll see you later. We also have got to say goodbye to. Cheerio to everybody across. I'm just going to have a quick look across in. So yeah, I never said hello to you, John, Age of Aquarius. I saw you sneak in at the start, but I didn't see you. But there you go. So hi and bye. There's Mad Monk as well. So listen, guys, everybody in YouTube land, you did beat TikTok land again. 29 people is pretty good for me. We actually had 19 people across in TikTok land earlier on. Ken, I'm going to ban you. It's not roasted cheese, it's cheese on friggin' toast, mate. Right? And with that, I'm going to say good night.
I'll reach my hands out in the dark and wait for yours to enter